Okay, big round of applause. We've started. Hey, this is New Look. Well, not New Look for you people on the radio, but this is Nunhead American Radio with me, Lewis Schaffer, and my beautiful co-host, Lisa Moyle, who unfortunately couldn't make it today. So, not unfortunately, it's good for us because she's been fired. Lisa Moyle has been fired. You will not hear her on this show, and we've replaced her with beautiful Laura Synthesis, who you can't.
Hello, Nunhead.
Hello. You can't see her on the thing. Hello, Nunhead. Laura's our audience representative, and it's like what you know what it is with you, Laura.
What?
You're like that guy who did the Queen tribute, and then he got a job as Freddie Mercury's replacement.
Oh God.
Do you remember that guy?
No, honest, that's all.
The audience knows. The young people, the semi-young people know. There was a guy who was a brilliant impersonator, or a representation of Freddie Mercury.
Well, they actually hired him to do it.
And the Queen guys, that guy who was Mr. Science, Brian
May.
Yeah. And the other one, and then there's another one who's not in it anymore. The two of them hired this kid. Balmy, you never heard of this thing. It's the most brilliant story in the history of the world.
Yeah.
It's just like
they're odd people, you know?
What Queen people are.
Yeah, like they think the band's kind of all about them, and whereas for everyone else it's all about Freddie Mercury. And
Freddie Mercury, yeah, that's true.
I like Brian May for his standing up for the badgers and the wildlife, so that's cool.
Right, okay, we care, because we care about those things. Do we not, Lisa? Do we not, Laura? If you're watching this, she refuses to be filmed.
I'm not ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille.
Well, you're a beautiful girl, but it's beyond that. Why don't you want to be seen in video? Most people...
Well, I don't put my face on social media. It's like, you know, you can get doxxed, you can get in trouble at work, you can get Nazis...
Okay, let's go one by one. You can get doxxed, what does that mean? Because we've got a lot of older listeners.
Well, people find out your real, identity, where you live, whatever else.
Yeah.
Can do bad stuff to you.
And where you live and all that stuff. Yeah. Okay. I still don't know where you live. Okay. But I don't know where Lisa lives. I don't barely know where I live. If you want to, don't come and visit me.
I think I even know where Lisa lives.
Yeah. I think you do. I know. Or maybe if she's not living in the same place, but I still couldn't find it. I forgot about it. Because I'm not interested in other people.
You're actually the only one that lives in Nunhead anymore. So.
Yeah, but you live in New Cross, which is kind of like Nunhead. I can't believe how flexible I am.
That's it. You got Lisa over in East Dulwich, and then you here. You need just all the points of the compass from Nunhead, and you'll be able to do some kind of chaos magic.
But at the end of the day, it's about me, and we're going to discuss that. Because Laura Synthesis is a font of information about stuff.
Okay.
She's a know-it-all, are you taking a video? What is it?
So it's just scrolling the words Antifa across the screen to make it clear I disapprove of your dodgy political involvement and GB News, and I disapprove.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. I was just about to say that. You think that Lisa Moyle disagrees with everything that I stand for.
And I agree with Lisa.
But I think you agree even more with Lisa because you don't agree with anything. Well, we'll get to that. You don't agree with anything that I stand for. I mean, this is one of the weirdest. Am I a weird person for am I weird for having people who disagree with me so virulently?
You're just one of these boomers that goes down the rabbit hole of where the algorithm sends you and ends up with completely just wrong views about things. And those people that were out protesting in Oxford, we want to drive our cars in Oxford city centre and get stuck in traffic for an hour. That's how dare you want to take that away from us?
Yeah, that's not the reason, but that's a very good reason. We can discuss that, but let's discuss first things first, because I think that's one of the major issues of our time, Oxford city centre, and no one is.
I mean, obviously it's not. It's this culture war nonsense is just to distract away from the people we ought to be bringing to account, which is the people who have all the money and all the power, and taking it away from the rest of us. And instead of facing justice, they're saying, "Oh, look, trans people bad," and some people actually take the bait of that, and take the heat off.
Right. So you're saying this, Laura Synthesis. First of all, how can you tell the difference between someone who's taking the heat away? How can you tell when they are? What is that called? Red flagging or something?
Red flag, yeah, but
yeah,
it's what they're doing is scapegoating.
Scapegoating. How can you tell? Because some of these stories are quite inflammatory, and we don't want them to continue on their own, right? Whether the powers that be want us to get all excited about them or not, we shouldn't do that.
Well, they obviously do want us to talk about it because they talk about it. It's pretty obvious.
So you don't think it's part of just the whole belief system that people have? It's not necessarily from the powers that be.
Well, considering that no one was saying a word about trans people a few years ago, and now it's the number one topic, it's obviously been deliberately. And then this business about 15-minute cities, which is basically...
let's talk about one thing at a time, Laura.
Yeah. So if suddenly issues that are obviously not issues at all are being talked about in mainstream political discourse, it's because someone's figured out, oh, here's a formula we can use to not talk about the fact that the government policy is giving most people shorter lives, worse lives, and and they're not being held to account by the media or anybody else.
Okay, so but you don't think that we don't have to talk about certain of these things, especially at 6:30 in the afternoon. No one. I mean, I'd like to talk about it. I'm very interested in that. You know that I talk about that. So, okay. So that's one thing we should talk. We just talked about that. What was the other thing you said?
Well, cities.
Which was you said that I just go on the internet and I go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, the fact that you sort of diagnose yourself by looking at stuff on the internet and deciding that you know better than people who've studied for years about how to treat these illnesses you decide you have.
Right.
It's, and the fact that you got involved in the kind of COVID truther movement and refused to be vaccinated and all this stuff. It's just typical boomers who spend too much time online behavior, as you know.
There are lots of people like that who go my way, but there's lots of people who don't. I mean, what's wrong with you going on the internet? The internet's like saying you're the kind of person who walks into a library and starts reading books.
And you've been involved in the manosphere nonsense as well, and that's just disgusting. You can't just say, I want this kind of relationship. This works for me. Instead, you have to make it into some kind of identity thing, like, are you a man going your own way, or are you an incel, or da-da-da. There's no need for any of that. That is just all men and boys who spend too much time online bullying each other and giving names to things that are actually real social phenomenon and causing trouble, and then some of them go off and murder people.
Right, of course they go off and murder people because there's so many of them. So many of them are going to murder. Somebody's going to murder somebody.
Yeah, and that's stochastic terrorism is going to result in violence. As we saw in Knowsley the other week.
Oh, don't use that word, stochastic. That means I have to look it up again. I keep forgetting what it means. That's
Emma Braverman talking about using dehumanizing language about migrants, and then Nazis turning up outside an immigration center.
Hold on a second. My thing is
here we go.
Issues. Maybe okay.
Okay.
Sorry, we had a little technical problem. Stochastic. For our people, let's explain what that means. Mostly me.
That's when someone powerful, someone with a platform, scapegoats people. And the result is that some nutter who's listening goes out and actually takes them at their word and believes that, oh yes, there's these people being scapegoated are actually a danger, so I better do something violent to them.
Right.
So Suella Braverman uses dehumanizing language about refugees and migrants, and so Nazis turn up outside an immigration accommodation center in Knowsley, and If the doors hadn't been locked, I fully imagine there would have been a problem that day.
Oh, really? Okay.
And Suella Braverman would have been directly responsible.
Well, we're not in favor of that. We're in favor of people being nice to each other.
But we're migrants.
And we're migrants.
Come to Britain. You're welcome.
I didn't plan on being a migrant, but yeah. But also, so what you're saying is for people who might want a fuller, I think, let me add some detail to that. It's like the people who were told that if you don't support Obamacare in America, you are for killing people. So that when they went out and shot the Republicans up at the baseball game that they were playing, that's stochastic terrorism. It's like saying if you don't get vaccinated, you're killing Granny. which means maybe you should be working and maybe we should punch you in the face. That's what sarcastic. It works both ways, Laura. Let me give Laura synthesis the round of applause. I thought that was quite quick thinking on my part. Anyway, it's Nunhead American Radio with me, Lewis Schaffer, and Lisa Moyle, who's been fired. Maybe she'll come back next week. But
that will obviously never happen. She might sack you, but it will never happen the other way around.
I don't think it'll happen. I've been trying to fire people. I can't do it. Like Blanche, who's organizing helps me. She's not organizing, but she helps me with the thing. I have to fire her every single week. She's so incompetent.
And she refuses to organize your comedy gig for you.
She doesn't do enough. She doesn't anticipate enough what needs to be done. We've got a show. We got the show on. You're coming on.
I'm not sure if I can make it. I've got like 3 other things that night.
We've got a special guest, which is the Resonance benefit. This is very important for the people who are listening to this.
Support Residence FM.
Because the tickets were sold out for last night to see real celebrities.
Which gig was that?
The
Resident gig. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
All those Daniel Kitson fans. I'm not a fan.
You're not a fan?
No.
Oh, you turned on Daniel Kitson. All right. I didn't realize that. Well, he's a certain type. He probably is an arch right-wing conservative deep down.
Who knows? He was rude to me when I saw him in Forest Hill. So
he was mean to you.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know who you are.
No, I was in the audience.
Did you
some
go?
Participation, and then he was rude to me. Well, Sonia.
Really? Such a small.
Yeah.
You got to be careful with Laura synthesis.
I hold a grudge.
She holds a grudge. She holds a grudge. What did you say? You say, "Oh, I know Lewis Schaffer." Did you say that?
I forget what he was telling a story that was boring anyway.
Oh, you didn't interrupt him.
No. But for some reason he, asked, "Does someone in the audience do this?" And he ended up asking me my age.
Oh, that's totally inappropriate.
Well, that's inappropriate. Yeah, I mean, he's obviously,
Even though you are a total feminist,
he's not got the best. He's not got the best social skills, obviously. But I found out later he's 1 year younger than me. But anyway,
how does he look? Is he thin and beautiful like you are?
I mean, I've never seen him look remotely attractive even when he was in his 20s. He's not a good-looking man in my view.
And you a view because.
But yeah, so I said my age, which is 37 or something. And he said, "Oh, you're almost dead anyway," or something like that. I mean, which wasn't funny and is rude.
Was he thinking about you, about him? And did he transpose that?
He didn't mention his age. He acted like I was twice his age or something.
Because you're a woman? Could it be a woman thing? Because that's wrong, really. Women are very sensitive.
So yeah, I think he's a baddie and not funny. I've never
I saw a comedian say something very similar to that, and in an audience, and the audience just turned on him. He's a gay comedian. He was a gay comedian. I'm not going to say who it was. Very funny, but he has someone their age, and she said about that age, and he said that old. And it was so the love of the room. Anyway,
just don't do it.
Yeah, because women are very sensitive. If you're learning something from these shows, just learn women are.
Is that we live in patriarchy and we don't have to put up with it?
No, women are sensitive. Number one, and they are evil. And you are one of the most evil, Laura. You and Lisa.
I said men are evil.
Oh, men are evil.
Men are evil.
Oh, I thought you said.
You know better than I do that men are evil.
Oh, they're very bad. Men are very bad.
Yes.
Men are bad, and they can physically kill you.
Yes.
And women are really bad, and they can get all your friends to disown you. That's really bad. Both people, men and women, are bad. Sorry for saying that. And this is the only radio show.
Occasionally women will hold men to account for their actual behavior in the real world.
And unfortunately, men can't do that with women. We can't hold you to account. Am I forgetting a gender? You're misgender. Am I forgetting a gender and saying I said men are bad, women are bad? Am I leaving somebody out? Let's say, how come you didn't include us?
Non-binary. I haven't met enough non-binary people to know if any of them are bad. They're probably mostly all right.
No, they're probably bad. Because you know why they're bad? Because they're human beings, and human beings are horrible. They haven't made me a big star, Laura Synthesis. Anyway.
This is not genuine sociology, by the way. I should,
what to say people are bad. Okay.
I have no data to back this up.
Yes, you do. You.
Well, okay, to back up the fact that men are, yeah.
But women, you've never been treated
in the world are done by men.
You've never been treated badly by a woman.
By a woman?
You never had a woman steal your boyfriend or steal your money from you, or badmouth you behind your back, Laura. Say something.
Oh, I know teenage girls. There's gossip goes on at school, and people just
and do they unfriend? And have you been unfriended in their friend group? Yes, you have. Every woman has. They know how bad women are. I'll give you two.
Children can be cruel.
Amber Heard. That's 2 words.
Hey, don't you dare! That is not acceptable. The stuff you say about that.
Yeah,
we're not talking about that, or else
totally true. Okay, and this is the only radio show for Americans living in Nunhead, and Laura's almost an American. She lives right over the hill, and or down the hill. Is it over the hill or is it down the hill?
I'd say over. The other side, in the valley.
Yeah.
Other side of Telegraph Hill.
Right. There's actually a ridge of hills that I once knew the name of, which goes from Telegraph Hill, Nunhead Hill, One Tree Hill, Horniman Hill, up to Crystal Palace Hill. That's a whole ridge. Did you know that? Can you picture that?
Yes, I didn't really make that connection before. I mean, it was all part of the Great North Woods, of course.
Yeah, it was the northern part of the Great North Woods. Okay, and so this is for Americans living in Laura's. I know she doesn't sound really American. Do you sound American?
Apparently not. Someone asked me the other day if I was from South Africa.
Yeah. The question is, what do I sound like? Do I still sound
You sound 100% like what you are.
Okay, like what is that? An American who's lived here for too long. So this is the only radio show for Americans living in Nunhead, Southeast London. And we're on the radio right now. You're listening to this on Resonance FM. You want to help residents, give them money. Resonance.com. ResonanceFM.com or Resonance FM. ResonanceFM.com. And go to our show, which is, here's the news, Laura.
Yes.
Reg is coming by. Reg Hunter.
Oh, yeah? What, coming to visit you?
No, he's coming to do the show.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Well,
so that's our name. Well, it's not going to sell out. We've got 3 days to get people to come.
Whoops.
So if you're listening to this, we will not be sold out, but you can get a ticket.
Okay.
Okay? I'm not saying that. Maybe we will be sold out. I don't know. But you can get a ticket right now. Go to our website at Eventbrite, which is basically, it's on Eventbrite. Just Google 23rd of February, 2023.
Let me give you a Twitter handle.
Or the Twitter handle, Nunhead, at Nunhead Radio. It's there. Or at Lewis Schaffer is there. Or what's your Twitter? You can find that about you too.
Nah,
promote you. You don't want to
I'm not promoting anything.
And yes, you are. You're always promoting your crazy communist ideas.
Yeah, we've got an anarchist social centre in New Cross. We have
an anarchist. Would you talk too fast?
We have an anarchist social centre in New Cross.
Explain what that is.
Meal every Friday.
That's what you're here for. You're here to promote this. You don't want to be with Lewis Schaffer. He's horrible. Yeah, but you're using me. What is that called? I'm the fool. What is that called?
You give little treats to my dogs. So
I give treats.
They like when you visit.
What do I give to your dogs, Laura?
Disgusting ground mince.
Mince, ground beef.
Raw mince.
Raw mince.
I won't touch the stuff, but they love it.
But aren't you worried about germs and things?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have like worms in it and stuff. The raw meat.
It doesn't.
That's what we got told in school, that you can get flukes and things in raw meat.
Yeah,
but you got to cook it properly.
But you know what? Yeah. You know what? The biggest form.
Go vegan, everybody.
Well, that's why Laura's so amazing. She's the exact opposite.
Vegan since 1994.
All right, you're going to die any minute now. But you take care of yourself, Laura. Or do you?
Well, I exercise a little bit, not much.
That's not exercise. It's not taking care of yourself. Eating the right amount of food. You don't have to exercise. I don't exercise. Look at how great I look. Do I look good?
Do you not exercise anymore?
I stopped exercising because somebody said, I am like that. I am like where somebody says to me, somebody says on the internet, they say...
Impressionable.
Very impressionable. They say, you have to exercise. I'll go exercise. Or they'll say to me, don't exercise, and I won't exercise. One of those things. Anyway, so it's Monday, the 20th of February, and we're actually recording on the 20th of February, 2023. It will be repeated Saturday, the 25th of February at 9:30 a.m. And I was going to call it the Lewis and Lisa show, but Laura's doing quite a good job here. So maybe we'll change it to the Lewis and Laura show, because Lisa's been fired. She's fired. We'll never see her we'll never see her again after 15 years. She's my oldest friend in this country, I think. Maybe not. Anyway, it's funny, isn't it funny to have like friends in a country? Like, you know, we've been here quite a while, both of us. You've been here longer than I have been here, right?
Since 1992.
1990. Oh my God, so much longer. I've been here since 2000. So with the first half, we're going to be on the radio. The second half, we're going to be on YouTube. You can check us out at Nunhead American. That's the channel, Nunhead American. And this is week 15 of Lewis Schaffer's calendar. Lewis Schaffer's March Toward Death. Was that your idea? It was a good idea.
It wasn't mine, no.
It wasn't your idea.
I thought it was yours. Was it Lisa's then? No, it sounds like you.
It sounds like me, because that's what this is basically me keeping track of what's going on health-wise. But what do you think about the new show, which is basically me and, you know, another person being judgmental?
What, you mean you and Lisa with your videos?
Yeah, like instead of having...
Lisa was very funny the other week.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that. Why, what did she say?
It was the story about you said someone called you a germ. And then you talked about something else, and then 5 minutes later you said something horrible, and Lisa said, no one will call you a germ.
Yeah, well, it is funny. Well, she's very, you and her. What is it with the left-wing commie-type women, feminist women, that don't like me? What's not likable about me?
So you were lefty in your youth, and something changed somewhere along the way, yeah?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess I realized that it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work, and it's really dangerous. And I think.
So you moved to this country that has a health service that you're sort of getting about 5 hours of treatment every week out of.
It's not, you know, something.
You got your council flat.
You know what the difference is?
Well,
the difference is I use the NHS is good for what it is.
You live in the best city in the world for building a comedy career, not that you really take advantage of it properly. No,
it doesn't matter. I think, New York is better. I think New York is like where stars are made, international stars. This is a nice country to do comedy. People seem to like comedians, but it's not, yeah. No, the thing, it's always about the NHS with me. Is the NHS is good, but what I need the NHS to do is to give me a test. Is to tell me that everything's okay, a pat on the back, or tell me that I've got a problem.
And they've told you you've got a problem.
They won't give me the test.
You've asked for so you've had about 20 tests in the last year. There's a particular test you haven't had yet.
I've had the calcium scan, and that's something you should have too.
I've even heard of that.
Yeah. Well, what it is the calcium scan is what heart disease is, right?
Oh, no, we're not talking. This is so boring. No health talk. No health talk.
That's what the show is about, to March to Death.
Tell us more about the comedy gig on Thursday.
Well, the comedy gig on Thursday, it's Reginald D. Hunter, you know, Black Reg. Mm-hmm. Georgia Reg. American. He is a
I grew up in Georgia as well.
Oh, you did? That's right. I mentioned that in the thing, yeah. Is that, where in Georgia did you grow up? Near him. Where did he grow up? Athens or someplace?
So he was northeast, I was northwest.
He wasn't Atlanta. He's a proper... I watched his dad's funeral. And it was so touching, really, and they loved the guy.
Gosh.
They loved the guy, and it was a big turnout. Beloved. He was really beloved. He was like it's so funny because they're like black people, but they're like so American. They're more American than I was growing up in New York as a New York Jew boy.
No, New York's a very cosmopolitan international city, whereas Georgia, you're American when you live somewhere like Georgia.
Yeah, and the values are very American, religious values, family values. It was lovely to see. It was like being taken back into America. And he's coming, and I love. He's a lovely guy. He's doing this.
So how many comedians are on Thursday?
And then there's Michael Capozola, who probably I haven't seen his work, but I know him personally. He's an American, also.
Oh, really? Gosh, no.
Yeah, also, and he's probably based on basically one of these left-wing type people.
Well, that's a relief. I thought you were getting your horrible friends from GB News for everything.
No, I haven't asked them because I want to make you happy.
Good. Okay. Well, I guess I better turn up then.
So it isn't horrible. That it's
and you'll be comparing.
And I'll be comparing. And Andy Zapp is coming.
Have I met him?
The old Andy Zapp.
Okay.
He's Polish.
Right.
Polish-British.
Mm-hmm. I think I've heard him on this show.
And he's also he's an ex musician. So all that stuff that comes involved with being a musician, if you know what I mean.
At last month's gig, your teenage son was in the audience, and one of the comedians asked him about his sex life.
Oh my God, that was so awkward.
Is that going to happen again? Is he going to be there? Have you banned him?
I don't think he's going to be there.
He didn't mind.
Did you see me? Did you see me get all upset?
That was very funny. Biggest laugh of the night.
I don't want to hear.
Don't ask him that.
I don't want to hear. Don't ask in front of his father.
It was a female comedian, if that makes a difference for him.
I think it's offensive either way. And my son is answering it.
Will your horrible COVID truther friends be sitting down the front again?
Probably not as many, no. There's probably going to be nobody. I think we're going to get 10 people come to this thing.
Spend the rest of the day promoting it, man.
Yeah. I'm going to have to promote it. If you guys don't come, I think you should come. The money will go to ResonanceFM.com. London's best. And we're in whatchamacallit week. Like that. What is that called?
Fundraising week?
We're in fundraising week. Mm. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to say goodbye to the people who are listening to this on the radio. We're going to keep on broadcasting, recording on for YouTube. It'll be awkward, Laura. At least it is for me. That's changeover. It's like because the truth is the radio is the most exciting thing because we know people are listening to this. I mean, people will listen to the YouTube thing, but there's a certain freeze-on of excitement, and that's tonight.
Well, hello, Shawnee Sean.
Hello, Shawnee Sean. Hello, Shawnee Sean. Well, let me thank everybody. Thank you, Laura Synthesis, for listening. Oh, you're actually here.
I'm listening. My dog's listening.
So, do you like this format?
Mm-hmm.
Do you like this? Do you think it's interesting for the audience?
Oh, I mean, I don't know about other people, but
right. But for you, okay, that's what matters. I was thinking maybe in the second half we'll swat this. Which is, what is that called again?
We'll do a SWOT, yes.
A SWOT, which is, explain what that is.
Looking at the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities to any person or business.
Or project.
So it's going step by step. You turned us on to this, and that's brilliant. So I want to thank you, give money, thank you, Ed, for the show. I want to apologize to the nation of Trinidad and Tobago. Whatever, I apologize.
Hi, Patricia.
Hi, Patricia out there. We used to apologize to Canada, but screw them. The relatives, they can't come to the show, the benefit, but because they're getting surgery. He's getting surgery. Good luck to Richard and Anna up there. Good luck to all of our listeners, Shawnee Sean, Steve Parry for hooking us with this idea, Neil McLennan for his help in the beginning. And to all of you people for listening. Let me just see if there's a time for us to take. We got 1 more minute left. What can we do with 1 more minute?
Is there nothing happening in Nunhead? No news in Nunhead at all?
Well, we did. We made a list of 10 things to do in Nunhead, according to homegirllondon.com.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, 10 things to do. And basically, it's got to treat yourself at Ayers the Baker.
Yep.
Go to pizza at 400 Rabbits. Go to the Old Nun's Head and have a drink. Go to the Vermouth Wine Bar. Basically, it's all about food. Some things, it says, go to relax in the Nunhead Green, let the kids play.
Is the cemetery mentioned?
Nunhead Cemetery is mentioned, but people never mention the real cemetery, which is Camberwell Old Cemetery, which is looking more and more beautiful and so busy. Nunhead, Camberwell Old Cemetery.
All right.
Okay. All right, so we're going to take a break right now. Okay. I think this has been a best show ever.
Best show ever.
Best show ever. Anything we forgetting anything, Laura?
See you next week, Lisa.
See you next week, Lisa. No, she's not coming back. She's not coming back. Okay, best show. Okay, we're back. I pressed the wrong button.
Sorry, I only recorded for like 2 minutes.
It was only for 2 minutes. What we can do is we can just start. We're just continuing the whole thing. So what we're going to do now is, what are we going to do now? Because I'm always interested in, because the reason why I started this thing, because I didn't want to get guests anymore. That's the number one reason. I was so lazy. I don't I don't think that many people were listening to the radio thing, and to drag them all the way to Nunhead for 30 minutes. Okay, right?
Well, I mean, my view is you should get things put back on the podcast subscription services.
Yes. Okay. Let's make a note of all of these things. I'm going to actually.
I mean, I've been saying it for I don't know how many years. 5 years.
I think 5 years. You've been saying it forever. But we're on Mixcloud. Okay. So this is a start. It's on YouTube, right?
Yep.
So it is that way. Okay. So there's a reason why I did it is I didn't want to drag people here. Number one, I am inherently lazy. Number two.
I mean, I thought that was the only reason.
That's the main reason.
Just pure laziness.
Well, it is laziness, but it's also insecurity. I think to myself, oh, must you say that? They are so evil. $2 billion worth of damage. People killed. People killed over this on both sides. Your people got killed. How many people did that guy kill? What's his name?
Stalin?
No, that's another guy. I'm thinking the guy in Ohio, a guy in Wisconsin. How many of those people died? You've been living here. You think you're in the mix.
Yeah, there's good people on both sides, the fascists and the anti-fascists.
So would you call me a fascist or a fascist supporter?
Well, as Lisa says, no one really knows what your politics are. You seem to have some fascist-adjacent views that you're sometimes not joking about. But, very difficult to pin down. I mean...
oh, that's interesting. Because
we're obviously all severely disapproving of you being on GB News, which is 100% bad, evil.
Yeah.
And,
But do I say anything that...
Sarcastic terrorism.
Do I say anything that bad on GB News?
Well, obviously I don't watch it, Lewis.
Right. No, so I don't. Whatever it is. So I don't think it's bad. I tell you something. I mean, GB News has its problems, but I think it's amazing. It's amazing that they put
it
me
only
on
exists
the air.
to propagate far-right views and move the discourse further right and to create more evil things happening to vulnerable people.
Well, do you know what? That's what they would say. You would say that. Okay? And people do actually believe. They don't believe that. I'll tell you what they believe. They believe it's a tool. It's called, what is that called? When controlled opposition. There are people who consider it controlled opposition. They don't consider it a legitimate thing.
What they do? They got sacked off there for doing a conspiracy theory.
Well, what's his name said COVID was that the vaccines were killing people.
And was he the one that got sacked?
Yeah, and he's the one. This guy, Mark Stein. He didn't get sacked, but he got effectively sacked. What do they call that when you sack somebody without?
Yeah, there's a term for that.
There's a total. Hold on a second. It's going to come to me. Did it come to you?
Not yet. No. Move on. Let's change.
Constructive firing. Dismissal. Where they just said if you get into trouble you got to pay. But the trouble that he could get into could cost hundreds and hundreds of thousands, if not millions of pounds. So
how many people have died in this country from COVID? 200,000 people.
They died with COVID. Did they die of COVID? I mean, that's a question. Why can't you couldn't even raise that question? And what was the average age of the person who died of COVID?
So when you try and make something complex, like this illness, simplistic, like you do with illnesses that you have, if I take this pill, it's going to cure me. It's irresponsible, and it's dangerous. And as we've seen, people have died. Because of what I've said. Because of what other people have said. Because of symptoms that resulted from having it and from not having the vaccination. And, life's hard enough without liars trying to build public profiles and careers on spreading disinformation deliberately.
Okay. Right. And I'm going to tell you something what's very good about this is if we were on GB News right now, this program would probably be acceptable because you've given... Because I did some controlled opposition to what you said. To what I said. That's what they're looking... What was it that they censored that you said again? I don't remember. They said there's a couple... Well, I said that the Queen... What did I say? I don't even remember I don't remember. I'm losing my mind. So does your fiance watch the videos or listen to the show? We're not talking about that.
No, we're not. Oh, God, okay.
No, she doesn't support what I do. She doesn't like GB News at all.
No, but does she like... Of course not. But does she like the Nunhead American Radio? Does she listen to...
She doesn't watch it, no.
Really?
Yeah,
She doesn't miss it out so much, then.
Well, I know.
But she doesn't like to see you fighting with Lisa and hope Lisa puts
Oh,
you in your
maybe.
face.
Or maybe she's like jealous that I'm spending all this time with not her because she's away.
Well, it's not going to be that, is it?
It could be that. Why couldn't it be that?
Well, I don't know. She doesn't sound the jealous type.
All women are the jealous type. All humans are the jealous type.
I did enjoy when Daniel Kitson called her that genuinely terrifying sociology student.
Oh, didn't she?
That was
Didn't
very
really
funny.
say that. She is genuinely terrifying. Is she genuinely terrifying?
I mean, I can see why he would say that, but no, she's just a forthright young woman.
Yeah, but why do I hang out with so many women like you? Horrible, horrible women. Why have I married them?
We have a high tolerance level.
Do you think that's what it is? Or do you think I'm like a game? Like you have your dog over there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think I'm like a little dog and you could like, oh, isn't he cute? He's, oh, he just pooed on there.
That sums it up, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, you think that's what it is? So you can sit there, Laura, and feel all superior to me and say, oh, you work for GB News. You're such an idiot. This is the women. what does it say about me? This is how pathetic men are. I think men are the most pathetic group of people on earth. Really.
Do you have male friends?
Yeah, I think I do. I mean, not. I prefer the company of women, really. I don't know why I prefer the company of women. Why do you think? Because my own mother was cold and distant. Maybe.
I mean, don't men sort of bully each other in their friendships? Maybe you don't like being bullied by men, but you don't mind being bullied by women.
Yeah, could be. No, men don't bully each other.
We do.
No, we gentle prod. Like my friend Doug, who's one of my oldest friends. He was the one who got me to do stand-up comedy by bullying me. But it was a gentle bullying. Like he would say, when are you going to go to the comedy club? Have you been to the comedy club? Have you signed up for something? For like years he did this to me, and he got me to do it. And
with that voice is sort of fate, isn't it? Really?
My voice.
Yeah, that funny Borscht Belt voice you've got.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I don't know what you're talking about.
How often do you meet people who think you're putting it on, that you don't really talk like that?
They all think, all the people think that.
Yeah. First time I heard you on the radio, I thought, okay, who's this character?
But is that a good thing, Laura Synthesis?
Well, I don't know.
I mean, I'm a comedian. I want to be known as an artist.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, it's just my personality. So there's no art at all. I don't want to be known as an artist, but it would be nice to be known as an artist. You know what I'm saying? You're saying...
Well, you say things that you don't really believe, so that's art, isn't it?
Artifice.
Have you considered incorporating singing into your show?
Well, all comedians think that.
But you don't because you can't sing?
I mean, everybody can sing. Whether they can sing well or not is something else. I mean, Madonna has a career.
No, go on. So why don't you? It would work well with your persona.
I don't know. I think a lot of comedians do that, don't they?
It's fairly common.
Well, look at Eddie Murphy had a hit record like that. Al Jolson, wasn't he a comedian? Or no, he was. Whatever.
Well, even Stuart Lee gets a guitar occasionally, doesn't he?
Right. I mean, it's an interesting point.
Go on, try it on Thursday. Try a little song.
I don't want to do that.
Try a Cockney Ding Dong. Try not sing Knocked Him in the Old Kent Road.
I just don't feel like I'm as funny as I used to be. I think I'm a little bit funnier than I was during the COVID thing with your crazy belief systems, fighting against that.
Yeah, that was very not funny at all.
But the COVID thing, I don't think too much.
Yeah, anytime you talk about
I don't think
medicine, illness, science, it's very tedious.
I don't think anyone died of COVID. That's where I'm headed.
Moving on.
But
peer-reviewed science versus Lewis Schaffer.
Yeah, well, what is peer-reviewed science? Peer-reviewed science is consensus science, Laura. That's consensus science.
Yeah, based on actual investigation, research, testing, comparisons.
No, sometimes
looking at things under microscopes.
No, what peer review? First of all, no one has a peer. Isaac Newton did not have peers. So for him to be peer reviewed by the crazy people who called themselves scientists at the time in the 1500s, whenever Isaac Newton lived, right?
There are rather a lot of people who study things in the region of coronaviruses, other viruses.
Yeah, and a lot of them, there's quite a few of them who are quite, who didn't agree and were top people, super top people at Stanford.
Well, there are people who critiqued lockdowns for epidemiological
and they're coming out right now, and those people are coming out, and they were completely shut down.
And they don't really know.
The guy who invented the PCR test, right? That's the test that we use. Said that it's totally inappropriate for testing viruses like this. Okay? He said it, but he was told that you couldn't... So
when you get a positive test, you don't actually have COVID?
No, because what they do is they take... First of all, I don't... Yeah, no, it is true. It is true. What they do is... What this PCR test is, they take a little bit of stuff, and then they duplicate it and duplicate it and duplicate it 20, 30, 50 times in order to get more and more stuff.
We always knew that the tests were not foolproof, but they were a tool, among other tools, to try to cut down on the spread, and the spread was successfully cut down using these tools. And to say, we shouldn't have done any of that, we should have just all crawled to the hospital and suffocated outside of them in our millions.
No, you shouldn't have.
That was the alternative. Yes.
Right, but there's so many parts of that thing that if you change one piece of it, you can't go ahead with the entire theory. Which is number one, the hospitals. You had a much greater chance of.
Don't start talking about they got things wrong at the very beginning of this massive pandemic.
And that's what killed everybody. Number two.
That's an overstatement, and they were trying to figure out what to do about it.
And they failed.
They tried different things.
And they failed.
Some things failed, some things didn't fail.
No, they all failed. The only thing that was successful was keeping out of the hospital.
Oh my God.
Because the hospitals killed people.
I mean, untrue.
Okay.
Untrue. Do not listen to Lewis.
Yeah, do not listen to me. That's what your job is.
Okay, so let's not talk about... I can tell you about my respiratory illness at the moment. I've had bronchitis for a month. I'm on my second lot of antibiotics.
Yeah, that's a mistake. Why? What would antibiotics do to help that?
Well, are you saying antibiotics do not work, full stop?
They don't work on bronchitis. No. You don't have a bacteriological infection. That's what biotics work on bacteria.
Okay. So why
I'm not saying they don't work on bacteria.
Why haven't we prescribed it twice? Why is it the standard?
Because it makes you because it can help. Because what it does is.
So it can or it can't. Pick your mind up.
Well, it can help slightly, but that's not the cause of your bronchitis. Anything with an itis, and I'm looking straight at the camera. Anything with an itis.
Did you ever consider going into medicine?
No, I don't. I'm a patient.
You don't want to have peers.
I don't have peers. I'm a patient. And you know these doctors. These doctors are the most boring people on earth. Nothing personal, because I know doctors are lovely people.
Harry Hill's a doctor.
He stopped being a doctor.
Because he wasn't boring enough.
No, he wasn't boring enough. In order to be a doctor, you have to basically play by the rules since you're a young child to get good grades. Then you go to the, and then you...
You're saying there's only one personality type that goes into medicine?
Yes.
No, that's just not true.
The ones who were, they are the most completely by the rule people.
The full range of
no, not at all. Every person is a certain type who goes into a field.
Mm.
You
go into comedy.
Yeah, well, why do I go into comedy?
So if you were to sing a song on Thursday, what would it be?
I'm not going to sing a song. You could write a joke for me. That would be an improvement.
Oh gosh. Mm.
Here's the thing. This is my theory. My theory is that every single job has a main focus, right? And like a policeman, what does a policeman do? They tell people what to do all day long.
Yeah.
Right? That's what a policeman does.
Yeah.
They've got to be the pillar of the community telling people what to do. These are people who feel like no one listens to them, or they're criminals. So every policeman is inherently a criminal. Inherently.
You completely lost me now.
Is that why would somebody go and tell people what to do?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to go and tell people what to do?
There is. It's clear that there's a certain personality type that is attracted to things like the military, like the police.
Yes. Okay. Take a look at something like someone who's a psychological counselor, someone who wants to help other people, right? Like I know.
There's only one type of person that wants to help other people.
Yeah, there are people who think they need help themselves, basically, because that's what makes it interesting. It's like me. I don't think I'm funny. Okay, that's why I try to make people laugh.
You don't think you're funny?
No, not at all. I think I'm deathly...
Is that why you always sabotage your live gigs?
Yeah, because I'm saying this is not supposed to happen.
At least you have self-awareness about it.
I have awareness of it. Now I do. At the time, I didn't have awareness.
Well, lots of people have told you, stop sabotaging.
Oh my God, everyone says that. Yeah, because it's like you're laughing. How garbage an audience are you to find me funny? Right? This is what I'm saying. Every single job is like that in its way. There are people who get into comedy who are totally, maybe really funny, but they've gotten in there by mistake. There are so many funny people out there. How many people do you know, Laura, who are really funny?
I mean, that's one of the things I like about living in this country is most people have excellent sense of humor and you can have really good banter with people.
Yeah, but do they all go into comedy?
No.
No, because they don't need to, because they think I'm funny as it is. I don't need to go into comedy. It's people
who like attention, people who feel that they're missing out on some kind of affection and want it from a room full of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think every professional comedian is like that, but a fair few are, yeah.
Right. Hold on a second. Do me a favor.
What?
Press this. We're going to take a 1 second break. I'm going to turn my refrigerator on.
That noise.
Yeah.
Machine.
So make sure we talk louder. We're not checking to see the volume levels. We don't have that. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So there's that, right? So.
Oh, was that the Slapstick Festival over the weekend?
Slapstick.
Yeah.
Isn't that slapstick wrong? Abuse and violence is to create an environment of hostility and hatred and hurting other people.
Well, sometimes just people
and bullying.
And
isn't that wrong? And you're laughing at somebody who maybe has coordination.
I'm not actually a fan of slapstick. I went because there were other things going on.
What is slapstick? Is they jumping around and falling?
I just describe it as physical comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like physical comedy. I didn't like it when I came to this country, but I like it more, you know.
You've seen a wider range of it, probably?
Well, at first I didn't think any of these British comedians who were very physical were funny.
All right.
You know, and now I do. I don't want to mention any names because they're going to say, oh, you don't think I'm very funny. But
you can mention the ones you do think are funny.
Well, like kind of Milton Jones.
He's not physical comedian. I've never seen
Well, he's wearing his thing, and he's wordy, but he's also physical. And Harry Hill is also physical, and people who are, you know, being more emotive rather than like in American comedy, we like the deadpan.
Yeah, it's tedious.
Yeah. Now I find it a bit tedious, but if they have, I've been watching a lot more YouTube videos, you know, whatever these reels, and some of them are, you know, they're just so, there's a certain style now, you know, that style of like,
what the Americans have or Brits
that
have?
Americans have, that these American ones.
They're identical, American comedians. It's just so boring.
Yeah.
And I have been for a long time.
Well, that's why maybe that's why Lewis Schaffer's coming back. Okay. All right. So what are we doing now for the last 10 minutes?
We talked a bit about Nunhead.
We talked about Nunhead.
We talked too much about medicine.
We haven't talked about my health problems.
We talked lots about Lisa.
We haven't talked about my health problems, which is what I should do.
What
I should do from a vegan point of view besides, I know what you're going to say, from a vegan.
Try some vegan protein, see if you like them.
Yeah, see, I don't believe in it. Here's what my problem is that my health is very good.
Okay.
Right? I would say.
I'll make your mind up.
And
yet you want more tests.
No, my health is very good, but the markers are bad.
Well, stop getting markers because they just worry you.
Yeah, maybe that's right.
Yeah, just stop taking all the tests and live your life.
But I've already taken the test, and the markers are very bad. My high blood pressure.
Well, don't take any more.
Is very bad.
Okay. But you've got ways of cutting that down. Standard ways.
Well, the pills. I'm taking a pill, Sortin.
What else? What else can you do to cut it down? Mindfulness, meditation, less red meat? What?
God, that's so much work, mindfulness.
It's not.
It is.
Put a YouTube video on for 10 minutes, listen to it.
But that'll only work just for a few seconds afterwards, and then it goes back to where I am.
No, you do it every day and it has an effect.
Because that's what that woman says.
What woman?
That woman.
Lisa.
No, the other woman.
Your fiance.
Would you stop saying that? I haven't put a ring on.
Rose doesn't seem like a mindfulness person at all.
Well, she's gone your route with the consulting thing, whatever it is, the counseling thing, psychology thing. She's into that.
well, it works for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what she thinks.
I've come off the antidepressants now.
Oh, you have?
All done.
Oh, my God. That's a big round of applause. It's so hard to do. That is really...
It's easy to do. You just have to know when the right time is and cut it down very, very gradually, and then you're done.
Well, you seem all bright and sparkly. I mean, you always seem bright and sparkly.
Actually, I suppose, that might have... Yeah, actually, that might be the reason.
That you seem more bright and sparkly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because eventually it doesn't work. Like when they gave me the antidepressants, and I said to myself, if I take them, I'm going to be taking them forever. It's very hard to get.
Well, you're supposed to take them while doing other things to improve your health longer term.
But they don't.
Getting counseling.
People take them for 10, 20, 30, 50 years.
Yeah, they shouldn't.
So what made you decide to go off of them?
I just realised I was fine now.
Yeah, and which ones were you taking?
Citalopram.
So they gave that to me as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's worked for me.
Does it give you a little bit of a buzz? Can you take it like one day?
No, not for me, no.
No?
Maybe for some people. But yeah, I had to go up to like 30 milligrams a day when I had that terrible job that I hated and had to leave. And then I left the job. I was able to start bringing it down, and yeah, eventually.
Is that how you did it? You did it gradually?
Well, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to very, very gradually cut down the amount you take every day.
Right, yeah.
Of any kind of psychiatric.
Because I had a friend of mine who was on the Valium, and that's what she had to do. And that's what Jordan Peterson had to do.
Yeah,
titrate it. Yeah, but that's the same problem. He's the most famous person who had this problem. He's got a lot
of problems. And he definitely needs some serious therapy, and not to do anything publicly and if he ever becomes a psychologically healthy person, because he's doing serious damage to many men, and he is the beginning of the clean your room to shoot up a black church algorithm.
I was saying it goes from that. So when I tell my son he should make his bed, that will lead to him.
If you tell him, that's fine. If he sees Jordan Peterson say it and then follows the next video YouTube suggests, and then the next one, before you know it, he's denying the Holocaust. And that's
so is that what's happened to me? Will I be accused of being a Holocaust denier next? Because I watched him and I started. You know what I've done? I basically take it.
So parents, do not if your son start watching YouTube.
Make sure to speak louder.
Parents, pay attention when your son starts spending a lot of time on YouTube, because they might be going down the far right rabbit hole.
Okay, or you could say there's a lot to learn from that. It depends what you teach your children, I guess. But with me, I heard, so he said, make your bed, and I started to make my bed, and it really
seriously,
yeah, and I've been doing it for like 2-3 years now, and it really improved my life. And I'll tell you what else. I heard, clean your room, so I started to clean my room. But like Janice Connolly, Barbara Nice, she said there was some kind of thing about cleaning stuff off your floor. You lift up everything off the floor, and you clean. Have you heard
there's
of this?
There's the thing of living in a tidier environment that can affect you psychologically. But importantly, the thing about the cleaning your room every day or tidying your bed every day, it's having daily rituals. That in itself, whatever the rituals are, it has impacts on a lot of people. It sort of helps with your psychology, makes you more mindful. Yeah. It might be cleaning your room, it might be doing a bit of meditation, it might be going for a run.
Isn't that going to lead to Holocaust denying, Laura?
If you're giving Jordan Peterson the credit for it, and then going down his rabbit hole and doing other things that he says to do, then he talks nonsense. Do not listen to anything he says about women, relationships, masculinity, religion, society. Just turn them off. There are other people who can tell you to clean your room.
Okay, for the sake of balance, we have to do this because of Orco. Is I just want to say, do not listen to Laura. Listen to Jordan Peterson. We have to say that. But it has to be balanced. We can't have a one-sided.
He's not a well man. Is he in hospital at the moment?
No. He has problems. But everybody has problems. Everybody has problems, Who's not look at Tom Cruise. He looks like an amazing physical condition. Who knows what he's thinking?
He's a member of a cult.
But the point is, don't say that. We don't know if he's a member of a cult.
That's another reason I can't be doxxed. If I slag off Scientology, then they'll hunt me down.
I think a lot of people say bad things about Scientology. Would it bother you? I just want to let the audience know that I'm a Scientologist. I have to be this way in order to balance the program. At the end of the day, so what I've started to do is I've started to clean up everything on my floor.
Good. It's good.
And that's the single thing that has changed my life. Not the single thing. Making the bed, changing the floor. And I'm also trying to put things away. I mean, you can't tell by...
I mean, I've certainly noticed in recent years that your flat has become tidy, which it didn't used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do, when I see people live in a really untidy or cluttered environment, I do sort of wonder about their state of mind, or, you know, how can they sort of focus on anything in their lives when they're surrounded by all this stuff?
Right.
But I notice what surrounds me, and I think a lot of people don't.
No, you do. You notice, and most people notice, and you notice yourself if your world is cluttered without even knowing it. So I am trying to be as uncluttered as possible.
Mm-hmm.
My mother, actually, the fantastic Harriet G. Schaffer, she actually wrote a letter to the New York Times, which got printed, called "In Praise of Clutter." This is the God's honest truth, and it got printed in the New York Times. My mother's a New York Times writer for the New York Times. She got the thing. I'll have to do a check on that. You can Google that. See if you can find it. If you can find it, put something in the bottom. Okay, so this actually has gone out quite well. Lisa Moyle is fired. You are being replaced, Laura Synthesis, because I tell you how. Here's my SWAT about you. Which is special weapons or tactic. What is SWAT? SWAT is
strengths, weaknesses, opportunities.
Stop speaking so fast. We've got a very slow audience out there. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Okay, we're just going to do the strengths. Is that you're wrong about everything. Everything in your head is wrong. And I think it creates a balanced program, because you say these crazy things, and I come across as a much better person. And you have no idea. You support Stalinism. I mean, yes, I support, I'm a Holocaust denier, but you support Stalinism, number one. And those things that you disagree with, I think veganism is the exact opposite of me, so that's good. So big round of applause for Laura Synthesis. Thank you, Laura, for coming on the show, for listening to the show all these years, for being available in the future. For next week, we'll see you next week. I don't know if I'd be able to get away with that. It's hard for me to fire somebody. Okay, so that's been our show. Oh, 23rd, which is Thursday, the 23rd of February, 2023. We're having Reg Hunter, Micah Capasola, Andy Zapp, and me we don't have any women. That's your job.
Well, last time you had a woman, she talked about your son's sex life, so.
Oh wait, who was that?
What's the name last month?
Oh my God, I forgot all about it. Oh yeah, anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, let's get more female comedians.
More female comedians. Not that I think women are
female
funny.
compare would be good.
I mean, Rose always complains that I don't laugh at her. I don't laugh.
You don't. She's got a good sense of humor. Right?
You have a very good sense of humor. You've got a very good sense of humor too. Yeah. But I don't laugh at you either. Men don't laugh at women. Do you know why?
Misogyny.
No, we're not interested. We're not interested in other people. We don't even laugh at men. We're not laughing. No, what did I say? What was my joke? It's not that we don't think women aren't funny. We just aren't listening. Okay? It's nothing personal. Women always go, oh, you hate women. We're not listening. We listen to men because men are dangerous and could kill us. So it's very important we pay attention to their threat.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I think that's a brilliant point. This is the end. I mean, this is not the best way to end the show, which is to...
Goodbye, Nunhead.
Goodbye, Nunhead. I'm turning it off. Best show ever. Thank you, Laura Synthesis. And come to our show. There's information below about where the show is.